Okay, guys, as you can see from the title of the video, Council of the Saints, Men Clothed in White Linen. In the previous video, hopefully you watched it, washing your garments in the blood of the Lamb leading into Pentecost, the Feast of Pentecost. The Feast of Weeks is also what it's called, Shavuot. And if you remember, we saw that there was a point Christ was ascending from the Mountain of Olives. And we also had a point that is what we call the Council of Men in White Linen. That's the 27th day of the second month. Now, basically how the council works, the Heavenly Council, the Council of the Saints, is every 72 days in the calendar, that would mean 5 times a year. So 5 times 72 is 360. And so every 72 days, there's a significant event, sometimes on a feast day, that's part of this cycle of men in white linen, okay? One of which is the 27th day of the second month. The next day, Christ ascends, okay? So when he ascends, there's 2 standing there bearing witness to the apostles that he's going to return in like fashion, okay? So that's happening, okay, on that precise day of the 72, okay? 72 falls on the 27th day of the second month, all right, which is Yahweh's covenant with Noah. Okay, so that's, we have more on that. We have another video. If you go to the feast and calendar playlists, it will show you the Council of 72, how it works. Basically, it doesn't have a beginning or end. It's just a cycle. And 27th day of the second month, 9th of Av, which is the 9th day of the 5th month. I think it's the 21st day of the 7th month in Tabernacles. Then it's, I think, the 3rd day of the 10th month, close to Hanukkah, and also the fast of the 10th day of the 10th month. And the other one is Purim. So 2nd month, 5th month, 7th month, 10th month, 12th month. Those are the 5 councils. Okay. Now, we're going to discuss in further in this video is how the council of 2 that bear witness, okay? So we can see that when Christ ascends, he lifts up his hands, okay? And we can see the same thing with the council of men clothed in white linen, okay? We can see that a few times in the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation, okay? Now, one of the councils that we can see is Christ himself, when he is approaching the time of Passover, he goes into council with Moses and Elijah. Okay, so we're going to see that later on in another part to our series, how the mountain of transfiguration, how that is a similar event to Mount Sinai. Okay, we'll see that. But one of the things that happened in the mountain of transfiguration when Christ took Peter, James, and John, he went on a high mountain. He was transfigured. He was changed. So he looked like a normal person the majority of the time, but then he went into prayer, and then he suddenly his face shone as the sun. His raiment was as light. And Mark says, as no fuller of the earth can whiten, or no soap on the earth can whiten. Okay, so what's happening is Christ is came in the form of a servant. He was always like this glory, but he lowered himself so as to not reveal his glory. He only revealed it to the 3, okay? And they weren't even supposed to say anything until he resurrected from the dead. So when he was in this council, he allowed them to see, Peter, James, and John, his glory, his glorious face, his countenance, and his apparel, and the council. Okay, that's what we call it, council when in white linen, because, Moses and Elijah appeared. So Luke says, as he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered, and his raiment became white and glistening. Okay, and there appeared Moses and Elijah, and they talked with him. The 2, Moses and Elijah, talked to them, who appeared in glory, and they spoke of his decease. of what he should accomplish in Jerusalem. Now, decease in Greek is Exodus. So it's speaking of Christ's Exodus, okay, in the Feast of Passover, his Exodus, his departure of the completion of his work, in the earthly ministry, going into the heavenly ministry. All right. Now, the angel of the covenant, he said, unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. Okay. So this is the Son of Righteousness prophesied in Malachi 4. Okay. Unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. Okay. The angel stood and said, I will give to my two witnesses. And he said, then, okay, these are the two that bear witness. So in Malachi chapter 4, verse 4, remember the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto you in Horeb for all of Israel with statutes and judgments. Okay, so remember Moses. Okay, so this is the angel of the covenant talking about the council that would take place with Christ. It was prophesied. Okay, the Son of Righteousness. And Christ, his face turned as the sun, and it says, remember the law of Moses. He spoke to Moses, verse 5, behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And then he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers. Okay? And again, in Luke's account, it says, and turn the disobedient to wisdom of the just. All right? So this we consider a council, all right, when the Son of Righteousness, when Christ would appear in his glory, and he would speak to Moses and Elijah. This does have an end of days fulfillment as well, we do believe. He was transfigured. This is where we get the word in English, metamorphosis, okay? Metamorphos in the Greek, from meta with and morpho to form, used in Romans 12:2, okay, that we would be changed, all right, by the renewing of the mind that we would be changed, metamorphosis, okay. So it's not only Christ that we have the word metamorphosis used with, it is also the saints, okay, in Romans 12:2 and 2 Corinthians 3:18. So Christ's appearance change became resplendent with divine brightness on the Mount of Transfiguration, as did Moses, right? So he bore witness, and Moses was there. We know Moses, his face also shone. And then said, behold, a bright cloud, okay, overshadowed them. And behold, a voice came out of the cloud, which said, this is my beloved Son, who I am well pleased. Hear him. Okay, so what we have is we have Christ appearing. We have the admonition from the Father, in a bright cloud overshadowing, okay, the council, and then the Father speaking, giving testimony, okay, this is my beloved Son, hear him. Okay, and the bird is testifying. You can hear him right there. Go ahead, see, now we have two bearing witness. And he received from God the Father honor and glory, and there came such a voice from the excellent glory, this is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Eundekio in the Greek. And the voice which came from heaven we heard when we were with him on the holy mount. So we're reading there, 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 17. Okay? So that's the counsel of the men clothed with white linen when Christ would be the Son of Righteousness, prophesied in Malachi. Okay? And then his glory would appear again to the Apostle John in Revelation chapter 1. Okay? Now, the council of the saints is also not just two bearing witness, but it is the cloud of witnesses, cloud of the saints. Okay? Because once Peter talks about Christ appearing in his glory, he admonishes the saints as unto the light, okay, lychnos, that shines and appears in a dark place or an obscure place until the day dawn. Okay? Dawn means glimmer, rays of sunlight on the horizon. And the day star, phosphoros, where we get the word phosphorus in English, okay, is this Greek word. in it the morning star, Phos and Pharaoh, to bring light in the giving of light. Okay, so that's the phosphorus, the day star. And now what this is speaking of is this is speaking of Christ that appeared, okay, in glory with the Father, and as unto the light that appears in the dark place until the day dawn. Now this is prophesied in Daniel 12. They that understand shall shine. Okay, they'll warn as the brightness, the Zahar, the brilliancy of the firmament, and to the righteous Zedek, the many as the stars forever. So this is now talking about not just two bearing witness, but a cloud, okay, of witnesses. Those that understand, those that be wise, brightness as the firmament. Many, there are many of them, as the stars forever, ever and ever. Olam ed olam. Okay, and this is the promise to Abraham. Look towards the heaven and tell or scribe the stars. If you're not able to count them, so will your seed be. So that means that the seed is in the stars. Okay, the seed is in the stars. If you can scribe, if you can tell them, okay, not just count, but if you can tell them, if you can see the seed in the stars, so shall your seed be. And he believed in Yahweh, and he counted it for righteousness. Okay, so again, we see the star, the seed, and righteousness, just like Daniel. They that understand shall shine as the brightness in the firmament, okay, in the firmament, to the righteous, many stars, okay, and a smoking furnace and a burning fire and lamp that pass through the pieces, okay. So then Abraham had this sacrifice, and then we begin to see this burning fire and this lamp, okay. And another thing about going through the trial of cleansing the garments, we know that the Hebrew boys, when the statue went up and they refused to bow to the statue, what they did is they put on their garments first. They put on their garments, they put on their trousers, they put on their turban, bonnet, if you were, and they went into the furnace. They said, well, whether we live or die, O king, we will not bow to the statue. And who appeared in there? One like the Son of Man, okay? So the Son of Man appeared, okay, in a council to testify that there is a God in heaven, okay? And he is faithful to those that refuse to compromise with the beast. So there is an aspect of the furnace and the purifying furnace that takes place. And now let's take a look at the council of the saints, the cloud of witnesses. We saw it in the stars. We saw it in the firmament. We saw it in the promised seed of Abraham, the righteous, okay? And all these saints, in Hebrews chapter 11, it talks about all the saints going all the way back, talking about Enoch, talking about Abraham. All right, all these have obtained a good report by faith. Therefore, seeing also, Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1, seeing we also are encompassed, encircled about with a great many cloud, nephos, okay? Nephos, it's influencing the word in Latin where we get nebula, okay? Great cloud, a nebula, galaxies upon galaxies. All right, cloud of witnesses. Okay, it's a large, dense throng, a multitude, used to note a great, shapeless collection of vapor obscuring the heavens. In Latin, nebula. Okay, so it's a cloud, it's a nebula, all right, of witnesses. It's not the normal word for cloud in the Greek. It's unusual, only used here. Okay, and this is the promise to David's seed forever. The throne as the sun. Okay, in the morning, the witness in the sky, the firmament, fine dust in the atmosphere. You are come to Mount Zion, unto the city of the living God. All right, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to the innumerable company of angels. Okay, so reading Hebrews chapter 12, verse 22. And to the general assembly, Moedim, okay, and ecclesia of the firstborn, prototokos, which are written, are registered, okay, like a census, that they're registered in heaven. Their names are written in heaven. And to the judge of all, and to the spirits of righteous made perfect. Many say, well, there's nobody perfect. Well, that's a lie. That's not what it says here. It says to the God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of the righteous made perfect. Okay, so there are people that are made perfect. You can't see that it's nobody is. Okay. Therefore, don't refuse like the one divinely instructing them from heaven. Yet, once more, it signifies the shaking of those translated, metathesis, as those having been created. Serve God acceptably and well-pleasing. And this we know is Enoch. Okay, so here we could see that there are a council of clouds of witnesses, many saints as the stars, okay, in the great heavenly assembly in Mount Zion, in the city, in the heavenly Jerusalem, okay. And guys, I will try and make the notes available, all right. But this is pretty deep, but I'm trying to do the video not too long, but maybe we'll have to do a review here and look at some of the words and some of the details. So the council of the saints, the men clothed in white linen. Now we're going to look at one of the saints, we don't know if he's an angel or a saint. He's men clothed in white linen. His name is Palmoni. And we have a study on him to show you the council of men in white linen. And Daniel, okay, mostly talks about him. So in Daniel chapter 8, verse 13, I heard one saint speaking to one saint, to the certain. So our word Palmoni comes from Daniel 8, verse 13. And that certain, all right, if we look at certain in the Hebrew, it's Palmoni. And so the one saint said to the other, asked Palmoni, how long is the vision? Now the vision he's asking about is 4 questions. When the daily sacrifice is taken, the abomination that makes desolate, to cleanse the sanctuary, and the host trodden underfoot. I may not have all of those. Do I have it written down? No, I may not be reciting all those exact, but it's those questions in Daniel 8, verse 11. And he answers one answer, and he said, unto 2,300 evenings and mornings, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Okay, so we knew this was significant because it was from the certain time that the host is given, that we count 2,300 days, evenings and mornings. Okay, and that brought us to the abomination that makes desolate. That was last year. Then said one to the man clothed in white linen, which is above the waters of the river, how long shall be the end of these wonders? Now, wonders here is Pella, all right, and it's a similar word to Palmoni. So to the saint Palmoni comes the root word Pele, which means to wonder, to marvel, secret, okay. Pella, all right. And we see wonders connect to the end of the times of the end. Okay, how long will be the end of these wonders? So his name is actually coded in the question. If we compare with the New Testament word, the Strong's, okay, we actually have the root word is 2,300 in the Greek, G 2,300, and it's a theater. Theomeiai. All right. A theater in English, where we get the word theater, is a Greek word. All right. It means to look, to perceive. And the king came to see those at the wedding table. All right. We see a use of it in Matthew 22. But he asked, how long shall the end of these wonders? Okay. So the Septuagint uses this word. Also in the council of the saints of the men clothed like linen on the 40th day of Christ's ascension, the two bear witness. That's what we were telling you earlier in the video. And while the disciples looked steadfastly towards heaven, okay, he stood up. Behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel. All right. which also said, You men in Galilee, why are you standing gazing up into heaven? The same Jesus which is taken up from you to heaven shall come in like manner as you have seen. G2300. Okay, as you have seen him go into heaven. All right, so again, we're having coded in the Strong's Concordance the G2300, all right here in Acts chapter 1. Therefore, the two saints bear witness of the end of the wonders, the completion of Christ's earthly ministry of a time, times and a half, in Daniel 12, verse 6, okay? So they're asking, when was the end of these wonders? The Palmoni, okay? We know that Christ had an earthly ministry of approximately 3.5 years, or a time, times and a half, okay? And through word association, we can see Palmoni associated with wonders. And we see in the Septuagint, the Greek Old Testament, theomosis, we find the root word corresponding to 2,300 days. Okay, so it could be also 2,300 days was the length of Christ in his earthly ministry of a time, times and a half. Okay, so I know that's a lot. Let's just do a quick review and look at our notes once again, because a lot of this is fairly detailed study. All right, so in this presentation we have 3 pages of notes. Council of the Saints, Men Clothed in White Linen, Moses, Elijah. This is part 4. Council of the Saints, Cloud of Witnesses, Mount Zion. This is part 5 of the notes. And part 6, Council of the Saints, Men Clothed in Linen, Palmoni, and the G2300. Okay, so as we mentioned, in the Council of the Saints, we have Christ fulfilling the prophecy in Malachi chapter 4. Okay, and let's get some brightness here. Okay, so we have Mount Transfiguration. All right, and the face of his shone as the sun. So we know that his face shone as the sun is the Son of Righteousness in Malachi 4, but his raiment was white as light. Okay, once he prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered, and his raiment came white and glistening. And there appeared in glory Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory and spoke of his decease, his exodus, okay, his departure. Then in Malachi 4, the angel of the covenant says, Unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. All right, so he's arise healing in the wings. This is what Christ said. I would have gathered you as a hen gathers her chicks, okay? And the angel stood, and he said, I will give my 2 witnesses, the 2 bear witness. The 2 bear witness is Moses. Remember the law of Moses, my servant, which he commanded in Horeb for all Israel with statutes and judgments. Verse 4, Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great dreadful day of the Lord. He shall turn of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers. Or Luke 1 says, the disobedient unto the wisdom of the just. Okay? Getting all that on the notes. There's Moses, there's Elijah in Malachi chapter 4. Transfigured, okay? Transfigured is metamorpho, or where we get in English metamorphosis, metamorphose, with and morpho form, used in Romans 12:2 and 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18. Speaking of, we can be transformed as well. So Christ's appearance was changed and came resplendent in divine brightness on the mountain transfiguration, just like Moses, okay? And then also with that came the bright cloud. Behold, a bright cloud, Nephilim overshadowed them. Behold, a voice came out of the cloud which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Okay, so then we'll see the bright cloud with the cloud of witnesses. And he received from the Father honor and glory, and came from the voice from heaven in excellent glory. This is my beloved Son, whom I'm well pleased. This is the voice which came from heaven that we heard when we were with him on the holy mount. Okay, so there, once again, we see the cloud, okay, related to the Council of the Saints, the cloud of witnesses in Mount Zion. Then 2 Peter continues, as unto the light, Lycnos, that shines and appears in the dark or obscure place until the day dawn. Okay, dawn, glimmer, rays of sunlight on the horizon, and the day star, phosphoros, okay, morning star, okay, bright and giving light. So this is speaking of the saints, okay, in Daniel 12:3, they that understand it wise shall shine, Zahar, warn, as the brightness Zahar, brilliancy of the firmament. Okay, this is the firmament, the heavens, the atmosphere. To the righteous, and the many as the stars. Okay, so this the people in the cloud of witnesses also reflecting glory like what Christ did. And the promise to Abraham: look towards the heaven, tell the stars. Okay, if you're able to number or scribe them, so shall your seed. So the seed is like stars. And he believed Yahweh was counted to him for righteousness. So the stars, the seed, righteousness. And a burning lamp of fire that passed between the pieces. Now, in Hebrews, okay, when it's speaking of the saints, all of those that had obtained a good report by faith, therefore seeing we are encompassed or encircled with a great many cloud, okay, nephos in the Greek, a nebula in the Latin, a large dense multitude used to denote a great shapeless collection of vapor obscuring the heavens. Latin is nebula of witnesses, a cloud of witnesses, okay? And then David's seed forever in the throne, as the sun, as the moon, bear witness. The firmament, the fine dust in the atmosphere. And Hebrews 12, verse 22, you are come to Mount Zion, unto the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and the innumerable company of angels, to the great assembly, okay, the Moedim, the ecclesia of the firstborn, which are written in heaven. Okay, that's the census, even taking place now. And to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of the righteous made perfect. Okay, don't refuse, like those, the one only divinely instructing them from heaven. Yet once more signifies the shaking of those, okay, metathesis, of those having been created. So serve God, all right, acceptably, and well-pleasing, like Enoch, all right? And then our next part is Palmoni, okay, Council of the Saints, Palmoni, men in white linen, and the G 2300. I heard one saint speaking to another saint saying, a certain, or Palmoni, Daniel 8:32, how long is the vision? And he said, unto 2,300 evenings and mornings shall the sanctuary be cleansed. Okay. And one said to the man clothed in white linen, which is above the waters of the river, how long shall be end of these wonders? Okay. Pala in the Hebrew. So saint has a name. It's not just certain, it's a name in the Hebrew. Palmoni is what we're pronouncing. It comes from the root word pele, which means to wonder, to marvel at. It's secret. Okay. Pala. And to see the wonders collect to the end of the times and a half. Okay. So he speaks till the times and a half. And if we compare with the New Testament, it's thaumastos. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce those in the Strongs. All right, the root is 2,300, just like the 2,300 days. Okay, so the Strong's Concordance number, G 2300. Okay, G 2300, it means to think of a theater in English. That's the meaning of the word. Okay, to see, to look, to perceive. The king came to see, okay, those at the wedding table. How long shall be end of these wonders? Thaumosis, okay? Also in the council of the saints, men clothed white linen, on the 40th day of Christ's ascension, the two that bear witness. While the disciples looked steadfastly towards heaven, as he went up, behold, two men stood by in white Lukos apparel, all right, which said, you men of Galilee, why say are you gazing into heaven? The same Jesus taken up from you in heaven shall come in like manner as you have seen, G 2300. Him go to heaven. Therefore, the two saints bear witness of the end of the wonders of the completion of Christ's earthly ministry of a times and a half, per Daniel 12, verse 6. Through the word association, palmoni, the wonders, okay, with the Septuagint, all right, we're finding this word. So it could be that the actual days of his earthly ministry were precisely 2,300. All right, so great and marvelous are your works. So we'll make the notes available, guys, in the on the website, okay, if we, we told you in the previous video, to further go into the study, and we will have other parts to this upcoming as we approach the Feast of Pentecost. So guys, thanks for watching and following along, in this fascinating study of the council of the saints, the men clothed in linen. All right. We will have more. There is additional parts to this series, which we will get to. And the voice came from the throne saying, praise our God, all you servants that fear his name, both small and great.